Welcome to a mermaidy, oceanic, outer space video. We are talking about the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. That is the energy of like, who am I and where am I and what does it all mean? This is a time where all of us are going to swim in very deep waters. This occurs September 18th at 2:34 a.m. in the night, so adjust for your local time zone. That probably for the United States means September 17th. A lunar eclipse in a nutshell is a full moon, so the sun and moon are opposite each other, and so it works similar to a full moon energy, which in a nutshell means endings, closure, revelation, completion, the end. In Pisces, that means it is washed away, it is removed, it is finished. Because it's an eclipse, it's likely to be something that is eclipsed out. Eclipses work sudden shifts, surprises, and little chaotic, unexpected. It's an eclipse because the orbit of the sun and moon are intersecting. It's related to the closeness of either the north node or the south node to the lunation. That means that we are in the first eclipse cycle working with the Pisces energy since 9 years. It is related to the nodes moving into Pisces, the north node, in January of 2025. And that means that the north node hasn't been in Pisces since 19 years. So we are working here with a rain check of a 9-year cycle, but it's really a closure of a 18 to 19-year cycle. For instance, think back to September 16th of 2016. That was a lunar eclipse as well, also a full moon energy at 24 degrees of Pisces, similar to this lunation, which takes place at 25 degrees and 47 minutes of Pisces. So this takes us back to 2016. So think about what you were doing around that time. There is either some sort of closure coming in now, or a rain check, a revision, looking back and seeing what happened these last 9 years, and are you on track, or do you need to come back on track? So look at what September 2016, or let's say 2016, and we could even say 2015 was about for you. Because another energy could also be related to March 20th of 2015. This was a solar eclipse though, so something beginning in 2015, March at 29 degrees of Pisces. So something that started in 2015 in March is likely wrapped up somewhere around now or somewhere around 2016, September. You have to think more, I guess, because eclipses are a broad cycle of energy, not necessarily a day or a month. You could really think of something occurred in your life around 2015, 2016. You're working with those topics again now, September 18th of 2024. And this is, of course, much stronger if you have anything at the end tail of Pisces, where the eclipses back then and the eclipses now occurred. And the back tail of Pisces is anywhere really between 20 and 29 degrees of Pisces. But this also, of course, works with the Virgo energy. So anything you have between 20 to 29 degrees of Virgo is in a strong opposition. So working very strongly with these lunations, working very strongly with this one this year. But also, to a degree, it is also about anyone having significant planets, so big ones like the sun or personal planets that are around 20 degrees of Gemini until 29 degrees of Gemini, or on the opposite side, in Sagittarius, 20 to 29 degrees of Sagittarius, you're all indirectly affected as well. So if you have anything at the last decan, as they say, decan, the last 10 degrees at the end of a sign of Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius, these are mutable signs, then this is where you're working with again. The house where specifically 25 degrees of Pisces is at is a strong working point. And the house gives you a big clue about what you experienced in 2015, 2016, and something that is wrapping up or coming back to light, like a revisionary energy, like what happened these last 9 years, and are you fulfilling your soul's mission, and how has that mission changed over a period of time. So yeah, working highly strongly at the last end of Pisces, but again, those other signs are affected a lot as well. It's a very complex energy, I feel, that we're working with, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, the 12th sign and the 12th house. You know, we have forgotten in society what that kind of energy means. It's the unseen, it's the magical aspect of life. It's, you know, your belief, your relationship to spirit, your spiritual self, and the connection to the divine, as well as, you know, the hidden, the secret, the downsides of feeling isolated, feeling alone, having difficulty with the, you know, love journey, which of course starts with the self-love journey. And because Pisces, evolutionary, is the last sign of the zodiac, it means an ultimate transformation and very high understandings of subjects, such as creative outlets to the max. So you're working with divine energies that you channel and put out, you know, emotions that you're in touch with, that you're in tune with yourself and everything around you, and you're able to express it, bring it out of you, and create something, either with your hands, with your voice, with, you know, with photography and film, or just writing, or you know, anything that portrays light, beauty, and divinity to the max. But it also is about unconditional love and these very big themes that are so hard to grasp, such as healing, forgiveness, being love, and radiating love. This is a very deep dive journey, and even though these words sound familiar to us, they are very out of reach, just like Pisces energy usually is. We love it, we want it, we sort of understand it on a very deep but distant level, and yet it's so hard to reach because the lines are blurred and the roads are unclear to how to get to that place. It seems too ideal, too out of there, too out of here, too in space, too unreachable. But the challenge with Pisces, even though it's very overwhelming, emotionally, energetically, it feels like you're in an ocean of water and you don't know where you're going. The overwhelming reality of emotions that, you know, with the Pisces energy, because it's the third water sign, you're tapping into not only your own emotions, but the current, the energy of emotions all around you, of other people. This is high empathy energy. This is feeling and sensing a lot of, it's really information and energy. And so Pisces is very boundaryless. You tap into other people's energy, emotions, other realms, other realities perhaps. And that is also very confusing and very much. It's a lot. And with Pisces, it's sometimes hard to turn that off. And so what happens is, you know, Pisces and Neptune energy, which rules Pisces, are also related to, you know, narcotics, numbing the feelings, numbing the overwhelming sense of sensing everything. And so people may reach to ways of numbing, you know, addictions such as drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, but also shopping or food, anything to escape sort of the harshness of reality and not knowing how to navigate the boundless spiritual reality that is also here, but that nobody teaches us how to handle and how to navigate and how to stay empowered, not to lose the self. You know, basically to know how to swim and to know what it's really about, and that your navigation is love. But since Earth is long time programmed to navigate through the energy of money and possessions, this obstructs the free-flowing love energy, because love is not a calculation. Love is not, I give you this much, so I get that much. It's unconditional. It's the divine fulfilling you, filling your cup with its love, with its free-flowing energy all around you, ready to tap into, ready to receive, as long as you want it, as long as you're aware of it. And to understand that you are a spirit in this body, that you are a soul that is much more than this life, than this seeming reality. Pisces tells us that there are more realities, that there is more about life, that there is an afterlife, that there is a very big journey, that there is a soul, that there is a divine source, that there are angels and spirit guides, that you're not alone, but it may seem very lonely if you don't walk the Pisces energy. If you think that this is all there is, that this, you know, material reality is the realest thing there is, then it can feel very lonely and very harsh. But Pisces is where we can see beyond. But the 12th sign of the zodiac, Pisces, where a story ends naturally, it's the end, the 12th house, where the zodiac cycle ends. A chapter is completed. There's a completional energy with Pisces. It's done. It's over, and therefore it's removed. On some level, your soul has got the message. The mission is completed, even though if you don't understand it. And so because it's about endings and removal and washing away of things, this brings a lot of sadness and grief. As Pisces feels all the emotions, it also feels the intensity of loss, of that loneliness, because seemingly you're so separated from everything and the divine source, and that you're very far away from your soul's home. You can feel that. And you can feel the grief of the loss and the endings. And you can feel the sadness that something is gone and over and it's not going to be lived again. And so you have to go through this whole spectrum of emotions with Pisces. But some of them are very heavy and very hard to carry, and a lot. Also because, again, most of us don't have the right tools to get through these currents, through these waves of change. But we will have to, because we don't want to drown, and we want to complete the higher meaning that really is at play. So obviously Pisces is a very sensitive energy. And so this means that September 18th, the dates around it, we're already in eclipse energy. Eclipses come way beyond 6 weeks prior. We feel this energy. We are boiling in these hot waters of Pisces already. And the energy is supercharged. And so everybody is very sensitive already. And around September 18th, that's gonna skyrocket. Sensitive body, mind, and soul. Sensitive emotionally, energetically. It means sort of everybody's an empath now. And see how it feels? That's a lot. It's what empaths, water signs have been feeling for years. Now it's everybody's turn. Now it's a collective energy. Now everybody's sensitive. Now everybody has to feel what needs to be felt. See, that's the issue that most people try to avoid, but you can't. Ever heard of water running everywhere? Water finding its way? You can't avoid that. You can't avoid the emotions. At one point, it has to be felt. Either through you, me, someone else, an empath, or now everyone. Things have to be felt to move through that energy and to let it out. So with Pisces energy, there is nowhere to hold on to anymore, and that might really scare some people, because we've learned to hold on for dear life, to things and people and places, when the reality is change. The reality is that everything is temporary. So why do we buy into the illusion that we would be able to hold on to anything when that is the real lie? You know, there's nothing, ultimately nothing, that you can hold on to. And Pisces teaches us that. And it also means that we may encounter things, situations, events that will show us that there is nothing to hold on to. That you can't hold on to that thing, to that experience, to that person, to that place. And so Pisces teaches us to let go and to surrender and to have faith, because you can only surrender when there is ease, when there is trust that there is something navigating you, which I think is your soul. And that's, I feel, is the purpose of Pisces. And because arguably our soul's not here, we're only a part of our soul, this just opens a whole different reality of then, who are you? And what is this all about? And is maybe the sadness and the feeling of isolation because you are separated from your own source, your own soul? And that feels kind of heartbreaking, because there's only a part of you here. And you long for that togetherness, for that fullness. I feel that Pisces is reminding us that we need to connect to ourselves on a soul level, that we have to have the soul perspective, that we have to understand that we are a spirit and that we are not alone, and that we are connected to a bigger theme, a bigger reality. And that divinity or source energy or God or whatever word you're comfortable with is real. That there is a guidance, that there is a purpose, but that on Earth we are very limited in our perception and understanding. And then, you know, Pisces also brings in that whole subconscious level, where deep in the mind things are programmed. You know, this is cultural or related to your family, karma potentially, and that subconscious unknowingly drives us, our decisions, our thoughts, our beliefs. And so the subconscious, because of that pre-programming, kind of runs the show and creates a reality. And then, of course, well, what is reality then? Because if you change that subconscious within yourself, you change your reality. And then Pisces also reminds us the dream state. Is everything a dream? What are our dreams about? What do dreams mean? But the 12th house and Pisces energy shows us that, as well as Neptune, its ruler, that dreams are a big part of who we are. And that dreaming is significant for whatever reason. What is a dream? and what is not. But so there is a big release energy with Pisces, with this lunar eclipse. And looking at the chart, we can see more clear what those release themes could be. So of course I'm going to analyze the chart and the patterns, and there are a lot of patterns in this chart. This is a very busy eclipse, and because the nodes are not yet in Pisces and Virgo, you know, this is really ushering that energy already into the collective, into the atmosphere. When, you know, we still have to complete the North Node in Aries journey and the South Node in Libra, which is all about relationships and the me versus we. You know, how do I become stronger myself? How do I step into my leadership? How, you know, how do I run this show? How do I run my life? How can I be more brave and take risks and put myself first and really have a high esteem of who you are, a great understanding of who you are? And believe it or not, that is a very spiritual thing. I believe it's the core. Understanding who you are is the core of the spiritual journey, and it's multi-layered. But just as I started the video with the past, 2015, 2016, I'm also going to explain to you how there's a timeline occurring now that is related to last year as well, that we're finishing up a 12-month journey as well, and how this is going to affect 2025. And really, it is actually a lot about 2025. And we are in a time of massive changes. And 2025 is going to be the testimonial, is where I feel, well, astrology tells us that it's going to be visible, it's going to be very clear, and the change is real. And, well, before a new comes, something has to end. Something has to be done with, completed. And that is this energy. So even though the full moon, lunar eclipse, excuse me, occurs September 18th of 2024, this energy lingers, you know, for a long time. This energy is activated back again in January of 2025 when the North Node moves into Pisces. And it is activated by the eclipse cycle that starts because of that in the North Node of Pisces and the South Node of Virgo, which is related to this energy. Remember, I always speak about the oppositional energy in Pisces. So if we talk Pisces, we are indirectly talking Virgo, especially here because this is a full moon, so the sun is in Virgo at this moment. And so this energy is really something we are playing with for a very long time, for at least a year. But it is my theory that we have been playing with this energy for already a year as well, which started with the new moon in Virgo, September 15th of 2023. So almost exactly a year ago, there was a powerful new moon in Virgo at 22 degrees, which is only 3 degrees apart from this eclipse. But it was in Virgo, so on the opposite side, a new chapter began last year. And that chapter is something we are kind of closing out here. And what's so interesting is that since September 15th of 2023, strong pattern that is repeating in the chart. And it is a kite pattern. We call it a kite in astrology because the base is a earth trine underneath. It's always an opposition that cuts in the middle because, well, usually because of moon, sun opposition as a full moon or lunar eclipse in this case is always an opposition. But it started September 15th, 2023 with an opposition of the new moon actually opposing Neptune in Pisces. And so the kite pattern that we've been working with since last year is a kite pattern that returns in this lunar eclipse. And it's going to return in 2025 in all of the eclipses, in Pisces and Virgo. So what are we working with? Ultimately, since last year and the coming year, we are working with strongly the Neptune in Pisces energy. And the kite since last year, and so now, and then the coming year, is pointing to that Neptune in Pisces energy. This is very interesting, and this is why I think I can lead you, guide you very well on this journey, maybe even more than most astrologers, because I have recently been Neptuned, as I call it, since a good year, more than a year, that Neptune has been going over my sun, because I am a sun in Pisces. So I understand this energy quite well. It's very difficult to grasp Pisces energy, to understand what it's about, because it's woo-woo and, it's out there and it's deep and it's different and it's hard to explain and put into words because that's not the frequency where Pisces is at. Right? It's about the intangible. It's where no words are needed. There are no words. It's all feelings and emotions and frequencies and energy, and it's all everything interconnected. So since I've been going through this personally, I know now, after, as I said, being Neptune for at least a year, because Neptune moves very slow. It's been hovering over my sun, okay? I've began to process and understand what Pisces and its ruler Neptune is at the deepest level. And because I've gone through this personally, I can now guide and explain to others. So first of all, I've touched upon this, but Pisces and Neptune is where your reality is being tested and you're confronted with your own illusions. And it's not that you necessarily created these illusions, but you bought into them. They were taught to you. They were, they were put upon you by whatever, okay? This could be media, but cultural stories. This is also how mythologies work. This is how repetition works. If I repeat to you something long enough, if I tell you something stupid, such as, you're ugly, if I do that long enough, you'll buy into it. Whatever repeats stays. It becomes a belief. A repetition becomes a belief. And this is why in manifestation work, and also actually healing work, the repetition of something positive is so impactful because it changes your belief. So if you tell yourself on this note something else, that you are beautiful, which is the truth, the illusion is that you're not. If you tell yourself that long enough, eventually, because of the repetitional power, you start to believe it. You start to embody that you are beautiful. And if you're Piscean or some other water sign and you're being Neptuned, then you'll feel that beauty is a very deep meaning, way beyond the cosmetics of it all. And that beauty is related to the divine, light, and soul. And these three probably combined in some way. And that beauty is love, and love is beauty. So you're confronted with the illusions that you bought into. And most of it is related to love. And so I heard about this through, a Turkish astrologer that is so correct, that Neptune and Pisces are about divine love. And I understand if most people are already tuned out by this time, because sadly, this is not everybody's cup of tea. When in fact, this is the real deal. This is what it's really about. And this is not woo-woo. This is another belief that people have put on these subjects so that you're kind of, that you're appalled, or somehow, it's just rejected. The information is rejected. But yeah, so the real reality is love. And then what is it about? It's not the fairy tale that is put upon us. That's not love. The reality is sometimes that you're going through really raw life experiences. Spirituality and the road to your soul and the divine is not necessarily an easy path, as if you look at the negatives of Pisces will tell you. It is not easy. That's why there are addictions. That's why there's escapism, to run away and to buy into the fantasies and into the fairy tales. That's not it either. So you really have to search, then, what is love, and what am I reaching in that subject? How to perform love, how to stand in love, how to share love, how to exude love and radiate out into the reality around you so that others are affected by your love. And that sometimes, not sometimes, I think pretty much all the time, is a pretty rough road of not being accepted yourself, not being loved yourself, not being valued. And then how do you overcome that journey? And you start to value yourself, love yourself, and understand the connection you have with the divine, and that you are a soul of light, of meaning, of depth, of long before this life and long after this life here on earth. It's a very deep healing path. The Piscean path is a very deep healing path. So through trial and turbulations and through the rawness of life, okay, because interestingly, Pisces is the third water sign, but the second water sign that you have to evolve through is Scorpio and Pluto, which is the darkness, which is the hidden, the not wanting to be seen, the tucked away, the disgusting, the dirty, the gritty, the smelly. You know, that is what you have to work through, the rawness of life as well, to get through, you know, the transcendence of Pisces, to transcend and work through the dark, to understand the value of light and love, because light is love, or love is light, and that is beautiful. You know, you hear me? And so you work through the separational grief from your soul being somewhere else, and the separational grief most of all with the divine, that is very seemingly far away from this life and this reality, because earth reality is pretty raw and painful, and there are things we need to move through. But then, is that an illusion? Is it painful because somebody taught to us and made us believe that it is painful? Is in fact life on earth not painful at all? Is pain a lie? Are we being deceived about what is really important? Are our eyes being closed to the real essence of it all? And why are we not taught any of these things, right? Why is this woo-woo? Because maybe that's the game on earth, far removed from the real essence and just put into a haze, a labyrinth of confusion, of a lot of negativity on earth that we have to navigate through to again value the real truth. And so there again, as you may understand by now, there's a lot of play on what's illusion, what's a lie, what's a deceit, what is not, what's truth, and what's love, and how to be love, and how to learn love, and how to move through the unloving parts, how to find the meaning and the bigger perspective and the depth of everything. And then it's like the sun rises again, and even though you know there is rawness to things and that everything is temporary, you see the grace and beauty that is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And then it triggers again that, you know, there is more. And that we can live better lives, lives that are worth more. I've been going on, but actually I'm also talking about the chart indirectly. Because I guess the strongest point, because it's directly linked to the opposition of this lunar eclipse, is the T-square that it makes to its former ruler before Neptune was discovered around the 1800s. That's Jupiter. And the T-square means there's a big tension on Jupiter. The biggest gas giant in our solar system that's making everything larger, exemplifying good or bad. And it's just, Jupiter is where we are interested in understanding the meaning of life. It's known for its philosophical qualities, asking questions, going deeper, testing your beliefs. What do you believe? The fundament of, of reality. And it's interesting that Sagittarius, that it rules Jupiter, is also about asking, like, what's the truth? So a lot of the Piscean process starts around Sagittarius and Jupiter. And so, as you've noticed, I've been talking about a very deep sense of the meaning of life and the meaning of all there is and the value potentially of all of that. And so this is the Jupiterian journey, to ask, to wonder, to question, to hypothesize, to find what you believe is to be truth, and to find the depth and different perspectives to merge, to understand what is going on. And so this T-square to Jupiter in Gemini currently is a very deep cry, almost like, what is going on? Because there's a huge overwhelm of information. Where is this world going to? Illnesses, wars, suffering, nothing new necessarily, nothing new under the sun, right? But it's ramping up. There's so much information, and half of it is misinformation. They are not facts, but they are presented as such. And so we are challenged with this eclipse about what the truth is, and that likely we're not going to find out what the truth is. Not where Jupiter is in Gemini, meaning not in the media, not in social media, not in the, things you learned in school. That's not where the truth is at. From an evolutionary point, if you look at the opposition of, because that's the release point of the T-square of Jupiter, that's Sagittarius in this energy. And that's what actually Jupiter rules. So what do we need to do around this full moon lunar eclipse? We need to ask questions. We need to, be very critical of what we hear and what we want to believe in mostly. Because, what you focus on is where your energy goes to, right? So be careful where you want to put your energy at, because that's going to make it bigger. So understand the meaning of life, that, there are energetic rules. And so decide upon where you want to focus on. Is it love? Is it the misinformation? Is it the suffering? So the opposition in Sagittarius also means have multiple sources, find multiple perspectives, weigh the truth, scan your beliefs, change your perspectives, learn, relearn, and then teach and preach the truth. But you have to philosophize, you have to think it through, you have to ask questions. And I think because this is ultimately a kite to the moon in Pisces with its ruler right next to it, you know, Neptune in Pisces. Thankfully, I would say, Neptune is retrograde, because normally when it's direct, Neptune is all about confusion, illusion, you know, it's very difficult. But when it's retrograde, the energy goes opposite. So in fact, the fog clears. You know, the vision is not blurred anymore. Less rose-colored glasses and more reality glasses. And so now we can see more clearly. It's very harsh, you know, to see the full reality. It's quite painful. But there's nothing like the truth. It's a liberation. No matter how dark and how awful and how, you know, terrible the truth is, it's a liberation. You become free. The energy clears when something is just seen as it is, accepted as it is. Even though that seeing in itself can be so overwhelming. Being like, almost like, you know, tearing your soul apart kind of deep. So that T-square to Jupiter and Gemini that this lunation makes is wanting us to ask really big life questions. Also the ethics. What is the ethical way? What is right? What is wrong? And how to overcome. So we need to ask the philosophical questions. It's very urgent. We have to challenge ourselves with curiosity. We have to want to wander and be, you know, fascinated by this journey, this depth. Some of these questions can be, you know, is there more to this? If there is more to this, and we understand what it is, would that not change how we live our lives and where we want to focus on? And so this shift is gonna make a huge difference. Because if you are really aware that everything is temporary and that there is real value in love, in living from your soul perspective, then that changes your behavior. That changes how you want to live your life. Because if you understand that things have a consequences, you know, energetically on your soul, on your soul's journey, that it has an impact even long after you are gone from this earth on your soul's journey, then would you really make those changes? Would you really do harm if you knew what big effects it truly has upon yourself? But also equally, the big impact that healing has on yourself and the collective as well. So it's like a really deep quantum understanding that we are all related to each other. We are all interconnected energetically. And that if I am a better example, if I live, you know, from a liberated soul, from serenity and love, unconditional, powerful love energy, that catapults us into a whole new reality. And I think because it's a kite pattern, it's a take-off energy, right? That's from the moon and its ruler, Neptune in Pisces. We are taking off on a very deep spiritual journey. And that we may want to escape some of this really rawness and harshness that we encounter. But that is key, that we notice it, that we see it as is, and not to, not to make it prettier. And to feel through it, to feel through the emotions, so that we may release a lot of the pain, the grief, the dark, the unserving parts of reality. Because it's time to let it go. And it's time to surrender to a higher meaning. And obviously, a very strong part of this is being in tune with yourself. So without a strong intuition, from now on, you will be completely lost. You will feel so overwhelmed. And this is where I feel that the Pisces energy can also be about literal losses. We are tested in our ability to release and surrender. We have to. And we have to be deeply in tune with ourselves, our intuition, our inner guide, our inner guidance. Our navigation is our intuition. And that is really being very in tune with, the essence of source energy. And that is the truth, or else we will feel very, very lost in the coming time. So this kite to the moon and Neptune is also, between 25 and 28 degrees of Pisces, is working strongly with that illusions are shattering. And when illusions are shattered, that brings grief and other emotions that we have to work through. So the bubbles are bursting around this lunation. And reality is seeping through. And it might be hella hard to deal with it. The spell no longer works. We have cleaner sight, stronger intuition, and so the lies are washed away. They have no hold over us anymore. So we can see through the veil. But when we first see through the veil, it might not look pretty. But then remember that there is liberation and freedom in this journey, and that it's really to get us to love. Because what we are really releasing and what's really being removed is all the unloving programs and all the unloving frequencies and all the unloving themes that have held us, others, this earth reality from a much higher expression. And so we are seeing through the deeper meaning. We are understanding it. And again, as I said, that means that we want to live different lives, more meaningful, more real, more based on love. And that's a whole different journey than what does that life look like? How is it to live daily by love? And it's not ignorance. It's not naivete, because these things will kill you. Love does not mean that you can do whatever you want. Love actually is something sort of anti-Piscean, but it is learning that you do want to have some boundaries. That you want to love from a cup that is full, and that cup is your self-love and self-value and self-worth. So if somebody's hurting you and they are unkind and they are mean, this does not mean you accept that. This means that you accept that what is, and that you lovingly release that storyline. And what I do personally is I send them love. I send my love. But I will not keep unloving people around me. And it sounds contradictory, I know. But the bigger picture is about being able to be the love and to radiate the love. And it's more about the connection with the divine than necessarily other storylines. And so whatever disrupts that peace and serenity and that loving frequency, I lovingly let go. And actually, I don't even have to really let go. It kind of removes itself because there's no energetic match anymore. So you choose what increases your loving energy and you stick with that. If people cross your emotional or loving boundary and your kindness, then you lovingly express, no. And loving means also, energetically, lovingly protecting yourself first. So you have to learn how to contain your own frequency, how to stay in a state of good vibes, so to speak. So you can do that through meditation and obviously eating high frequency foods. You can do that by practicing love. It's a practice. And here comes the Virgo energy that really knows practically how to love, which is to care. Care for yourself, care for your loved ones, care for the people around you, care for those who need care, such as pets, such as people with health issues. And doing that practice of taking care of people who need help, or those who need help, I should say, not necessarily people, but that can also be plants or animals or whatever. If you practice love through helping those who need help, by taking care of them, this is how you experience love. This is love. This is the frequency of love. And you don't do it because you necessarily get something back. Well, it may make you feel good. I hope it does. Because taking care of what needs care is very fulfilling. And I think you just need to find whatever that is that speaks to you. If that is, yes, an animal or plants or people or children or whatever it is. Caring is the fundament. And Pisces takes it to the next level where it cares about everything. It just flows through it, the care. But the Virgo side, where the sun is in this opposition, reminds us that this is a practical thing. That this is effort. We need to care practically. We have to do it. We have to step out and, stroke our sleeves, and we have to just go get it. We have to do it. We have to practice help. We have to practice support. We have to practice love. It's doing. So that's part of it. Understanding the love journey. But then there's that removal reality. Many things ending. But from a soul perspective, and this is how I truly feel, many soul contracts are ending. And so let's say, for instance, for a very long time in your life, you had an issue with a sibling. This was a soul contract to experience that. And now with this lunar eclipse in Pisces and the coming year as well, this difficulty with your sibling might be washed away. Okay, trigger warning, for some people, that person might actually be washed away as well. But certainly the contract between you and that other soul is ending. Many soul contracts are ending now. There is a liberation theme on the soul level. And those of you who have watched me for a long time know that full moons are also a celebration point, a harvest point, the completion of bringing something in, bringing it home. It's being revealed, it's being celebrated. And so there's that as well in this kite that takes off. And it just makes me think of that liberation theme of like, well, if so many soul contracts are over, if so many of the difficulties you had to endure in your life is over, that's a huge relief as well. That's lightness. That's embarking on a whole different, new soul journey, new soul contracts, new karma. A lot of karma is ending. It's related because of the Pisces energy also to, past lives. And related even to the afterlife, after this life. And so it affects your place here. And if you can bear with me, this is even related to timeline collapses and timeline merges. Now, you may have heard of that there are parallel lives, right? Simultaneously, your soul is living through different storylines, different lives, just like you are living now, just different themes. And I feel that is part of why you sometimes have a dream, but it's not like you want to achieve something. It's so real, it's so tangible, but it's not in your life. And so I feel that is one of those things where you tap into a parallel life where you are that, where you have that. But for some reason in this lifetime, you do not. And what I feel around this lunar eclipse is that either part of the other storylines of your soul are done. It's over. Like that contract, that soul agreement is over. And so that timeline collapses, is gone. And when that happens, I do feel, and that's related again to this lunation, that there's a lot of grief because something stops. It's like a death, right? And so for no reason, and that's definitely the theme of this eclipse, for no reason you'll feel sadness and grief, because part of it is the ending of soul contracts, potential soul timelines that you're connected to but you're not very aware of because because there are veils. that you can't move through different soul times. But what could happen from here on is that, you know, because of the collapse, some lines may merge. And what if you suddenly do live part of that dream that you always had, but, you know, now you're suddenly in it, or somehow it's suddenly on your path. And because this is about love, the highest expression of love, unconditional, divine, you know, forgiving, high frequency love, I do feel this opens the gates to partnerships that are living these very high frequency love storylines. And maybe it's part of that timeline collapsing and merging that suddenly people are experiencing this in their lives. And part of it is also by working through the toxicity of relationships with the South Node in Libra that we've been going through for more than a year. This is also that celebratory perspective that you may embark on a higher frequency timeline if you have done the healing, if you're more in tune with yourself and the path of love, which is through forgiveness work, acceptance work, healing work. So I'm going to take apart this kite pattern a little bit and explain to you that the base of it is a triangle, which we call a grand, in this case, Earth trine beneath. And that sort of anchor of the kite means that there are 3 points in Earth signs, which in this case is the Sun in Virgo, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, back at the 29 degrees point for the last time in 250 years. And then we have Uranus at the other point, which is retrograde in Taurus at 27 degrees. So these are very transformative energies, but they are all in Earth signs. This means that our reality is changing. We are experiencing real, tangible changes that will affect our daily routine, our habits of how we live our lives. And on one hand, this is related to crashes and crumblings and things changing in our reality, like our physical material reality, and also the opportunity at the same time, because it's earth and water going on here, is that we can also manifest in this blur, in the sense that things might be upgraded in your material reality, probably because of those soul timeline collapses and merges that I was speaking about. So something in the spiritualness of who you are, something about the beliefs that are very deep down, and that ability to love is going to change your reality, right? Going to change your body, going to change your frequency. It's going to change your environment. And the top of the kite at the top is a talent triangle with 3 outer planets. You know, Neptune is at 28 degrees of Pisces retrograde, sextiling Uranus in Taurus retrograde. They are, you know, in a 1 degree orb in a sextile together. So it's very strong. I've been speaking about this. This connection is, you know, that a whole new world kind of frequency. We are building a new reality, understanding how manifestation works, how it's based on frequency. And this helps us to bring in the dreams. This helps us to bring in the magic. This is upgrades in frequency, in consciousness, in awareness. It is massive synchronicities. So also around this lunation, you could just feel like serendipity, synchronicities. As I said, the timeline collapses and merges might bring in like deja vu kind of vibes, and like I was just thinking about you, now you're here. So telepathy is very high as well. All these unseen ways of energy working, they're becoming so strong because maybe now we're able to kind of almost see them. We're able to, in this lunation, to like really tap into that unseen reality, almost like, oh, this is how telepathy works. Oh, this is how synchronicity works. You know, you can manifest by dreaming it, by imagining it. Topics like that. So this energy really opens the Neptuition, I would call, the intuitional power that we have to tap in. It is becoming stronger and stronger. It's very high around this eclipse. This makes me feel, because there's this talent triangle with the outer planets, Pluto is of course involved at the other side as well, a sextile to Neptune, a trine to the same Uranus, means it's transforming our reality, how we create it. It's deep alchemization, changing of the energy and the frequency. And like I said, going through that dark, the terrible, the awful, to face the rawness of life. We have to cleanse it, to purify it, to bring love and light into it. So this outer planet's smooth, powerful connection means that we are gaining soul gifts as well. We are enlarging energetic gifts that were locked before. So it's unlocking a lot of things in our DNA, our abilities, so to speak, even that telepathy ability, or other ways of using or manipulating almost energy and knowing what comes from it. So we're unlocking gifts of consciousness, of awareness. As I said, we're seeing more, we're understanding more than ever before in recent times. So things that were dormant, as I said, locked in DNA or in the soul, or limiting soul contracts, these are all gone. These are all opened up. Because these are big outer planets, this is cosmic support. We are supported on this journey of loss, of endings, of sadness, but also being able to push through it, to transform it, to transcend it, and to come out higher, on top. You know, we have cosmic support. We have soul level support. It's time that we feel it and understand it and tap into the support. And that will relieve a lot of the heaviness that Pisces can bring. So this is not to weigh you down, even though it may feel like that. This is really where you want to push through and get to the other side, to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And this is about creating a new reality. This is about embarking on new soul contracts, which will, in my opinion, if I'm correct on this soul contract part, will happen in 2025, when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, the beginning, the new soul contract kind of vibe in you know, next year. So the support of the outer planets and this kite pointing to the moon and its ruler Neptune means clearly we're being illuminated. We are being revealed to deeper meanings and layers of life. The truth, the hidden truth, the secret, the magical and mystical part of life is now clear to us. And there is an urgency and a need to take off upon this energy. It also means very vivid dreams, potentially, psychic gifts unlocking, psychic dreams. So, maybe you want to be kind to yourself. You want to be kind to your body, because this might be very overwhelming. This might bring some form of tiredness as well. And you want to be compassionate with yourself and others. You want to take it slow. You want to take solitude and be more alone, be more quiet, to really navigate this, wavy, oceanic, deep energy, to make sure that you understand what's going on and what this brings you, and how you can move forward from these huge energetic upgrades and changes. So these outer planet support of this lunation means that Pluto and Uranus are lightening up the, lunar eclipse in Pisces. And so again, there is grand cosmic support, and there's a need for a lot of trust, a need for deep surrender. And you think about what that means and how that looks like for you. How you can have more spiritual habits. How you can be daily active in improving your intuitive skills to be more in tune, more in touch with your body, mind, but also soul. So transcend by being in tune and by imagining. The power of imagination is to co-create your reality. By expanding your understanding, you will reach a higher expression, such as love. Because the understanding is also about knowing that one day this life will end. And then what? One day this life will end for everybody. This is a truth we cannot escape. And so then what does it mean to know this, to live from this truth? Does this change how you live your life then? And that there is more than this life itself, that there's more to you than this life. This is a very deep meaning, but I feel I have been quite clear, and I hope you can understand, and I hope you can follow it. I know this has been quite a lecture, but the Piscean energy, because it's so little explained to us in the world, how to achieve it, how to be it, how to live from love, how to have higher meaning and a higher perspective to everything, that I wanted to give you that information that mostly isn't presented to us, that there's more to life, and there's more to this story. I can only explain this far. We will get back to it, because this is an ongoing cycle, as I said, being activated again in January by the North Node. Maybe I should end with some of these dates. As I said, this particular journey started in September 15th of 2023, something you started back then, some reality that you are clear upon. This is done. This is completed by now, September 18th of 2024. Then there is another part of an ending to both the September 15, 2023 part and also the September 18th, 2024 part. So basically, 2023 is something that a new reality and new understanding started in the Virgo energy. but working with this Neptune energy. Part 1 of the end is in this year, 2024, with this eclipse. Part 2 of the ending is in March 14th of 2025. That 2025 March 14th is really the ending of whatever started in September 15th, 2023. And after all this ending and this completion work and probably massive changes to our reality, okay, we will embark on a whole new soul chapter with a solar eclipse, September 21st of 2025, so meaning next year, at 29 degrees of Virgo. And meanwhile, like I said, all of these lunations have a kite pattern to Neptune, mostly in Pisces, except the last one. I think then he's in Aries. So we are being Neptuned. All of us are being Neptuned. And that means you have to go within. You have to see and feel into the soul. You have to break through the illusions. And, you know, it's a wobbly, wild ride. Very confrontational, very overwhelming, and you just have to be very compassionate with yourself and surrender. There's nothing to hold on to, and that is okay, because the only thing you can hold on to is yourself, and that's why your intuition is so valuable, and that is really your power. So the power lies in knowing who you are. That's how you navigate these deep waters. So I wish you great healing energy, and I wish everybody tremendous love energy, and may we create more love into this world. I think we can do it. I think we have the ingredients, and now we have the right energies. So take great care, and much love from me to you. See you. Bye.